Kalila here, and welcome to another video. Today, as you can see from the title, I will be showing you how you can crochet using a graph or a grid or anything that has little boxes, you know, like graph paper. But as you guys know, I do a lot of tapestry work and pictures inside crochet projects, and I've been getting a lot of questions, especially on my Instagram, on how I do that. So I'm going to show you guys how I crochet using the graph. This is just how I my cat just jumped on the desk. She likes to look out the window. Okay, you good? All right. Anyway, but I'm going to show you how you can actually find your own grid or your own graph, especially if you don't know how to design things just yet. Because most of the things that I do is freehand, so I literally draw everything out. But Google is your best friend when it comes to this, okay? So you don't have to do that yourself. Now, if you don't want to use Google and you do want to design your own thing, you can get graph paper. Graph paper is literally so great for this because that's essentially what we're doing, but on the internet, you know? If you do want to manipulate things, erase and everything, get some graph paper, draw out the design you want, and then use the method that I'm going to show you on how to actually crochet what you just drew out. I'm going to show you in Google in like the next clip on how you can search for your own graph, grid, and everything, and then that is what we're going to use as our example project, because I'm going to show you, like actually show you how to do this, as well as show you how to find your own graph. Okay. Now for this, you can literally look up anything you want, but make sure you put grid or graph behind it. So let's say you want to do something with, I don't know, St. Patrick's Day. You'll do shamrock grid. Oh, I've looked that up before. So shamrock grid or shamrock graph. But for this one, I'm actually going to do a heart because I feel like it's so easy. So I'm going to do heart grid. And I'm going to look that up. I'm going to go to images, and then you can see there are a bunch of grids and graphs here. You can see there's this one right here, and it shows you the numbers and everything. This is really good. I think this is actually a crochet thing. So there's also this one that you can use. I like this one. I think I like this one. Yes. Okay, let's save that. Heart grid. Boom. Save that. So now this is what we'll be using for our example. Now let me show you how to actually read this. As you can see, the numbers on the side here are the numbers for the rows. So you can see number 1, this is row 1, and this is row 2. And you might be wondering, why are there numbers on the sides, on opposite sides, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's because when we're working with a graph or a grid, you have to work from, if you're a right-hander, you have to work from right to left, then left to right, and then right to left again. If you're left-handed, these numbers will be switched. So the odd numbers will be on the left side and the even numbers will be on the right side. So row 1 would go from left to right. Row 2 will be right to left. Row 3 will be left to right again. And that is because when we crochet and we turn our work, we are on the opposite side of what we worked on. So in order for your picture to come out the way you want it to come out, you have to work left to right, right to left, or right to left, left to right. So each row you have to read starting on the side that you crochet with. So if you are a right-hander, this will be row number 1, and this side, this grid right here, will be the start. So you will start to crochet or read this graph from right to left, and you will go down and read it this way. Then when you turn your work for row 2, you will start reading right here where the number 2 is and read across this way. And then for row 3, when you turn your work, you're going to start reading right there from the right. So you always want to start reading your graph where you see the numbers. Let's look at the colors. So we have a white background, and we have a red heart, and we have a white little shine inside. So these can be the colors that you can work with, but just know that you will be working with two colors. So you'll have a background color, which is the white, and then you have a secondary color, which will be the heart. And then of course the white will go inside the heart as well. So grab your two colors that you want, because it doesn't have to be red and white. It can be blue and yellow, red and green. It doesn't matter. And grab those two colors and I will start showing you how to read this graph and translate it into crocheting. Okay? Okay. Alrighty, so here I have pulled up the graph on my iPad because I can't bring my computer over here. So I pulled it up here so that it's easily accessible to me. And I also grabbed white yarn, red yarn. I'm just going to use the exact colors, but you can use whatever you want. I grabbed a 5.5 millimeter hook. It is this clover hook. I haven't used it before, so we'll see how that is. But grab yourself any kind of yarn. Just make sure the hook and the yarn match. I'm using 100% acrylic yarn. And then I have a row counter just so that I can keep track of which row that I am on. Alrighty, so we are going to start crocheting this heart. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to see how many squares there are across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 15 squares. So we're looking at row 1. I'm going to be going from left to right because I'm left-handed, but you can, if you're right-handed, which most of you are, just follow this exactly. Now that we know that there are 15 squares, we're going to make a foundation chain. This does not count as the first row, so chain 16. You might be wondering why chain 16? Remember, we never go into the first chain, so you want to chain 16 so that you can have 15 stitches. Alrighty, now we have 16 chains. We are going to start in this first row. And remember, you're going to read from right to left if you're right-handed and from left to right if you're left-handed, which is what I'm going to be doing. So you're going to do 15 stitches of your choice. You could do single crochet, you can do half double crochet, double crochet. I'm just going to do single crochet just for the simplicity of it. So I'm going to do 15 single crochets across this first row. When you're done doing your 15 stitches, just chain 1 and turn your work. Now we are on row 2, and as you saw, we turned our work. So when we turn our work, it flips it to the other side. So let's say this is the front part, now we're on the back part. And that's why when we read our graph, we read it from right to left, left to right, or left to right, right to left, because this is the front, this is the back, this is the front, this is the back, if we're going based on front and back. But now we are on the second row, and the second row is literally the same thing. There are no color changes or anything. So you're going to continue doing 15 single crochets or whatever stitch that you chose. Alrighty, row 2 is finished. And now we are on row 3. So, row 3, we actually have a color change in the middle of it. So, to see your color change, or like to know where the color change will be, you need to count all of the stitches right before the color change. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This means you're going to do 7 white stitches, and then you're going to change to red for this one stitch, and then you're going to go back to white for the rest of the stitches. Now for me, I'm going to be reading it this way, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think this is pretty symmetrical, so I can read it either way, but that's gonna throw me off, so I'm just gonna read it the way I know I need to read it. 7 stitches, and then change to red, and then do 7 more white stitches. So usually I indicate a color change with a stitch marker on my project, but since this is so small, I feel like I don't need to. So I'm just gonna have my red here, and then I'm going to do 7 white stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now with the single crochet, I'll usually yarn over with the white stitch until I have 3 on my hook and pull through. But for a seamless or somewhat seamless color change, I'm going to actually finish this stitch off with the red and pull it up just like that. So now the red is on the hook. So for this, we only have 1 stitch that's red. Here's the 1 red stitch, and we're back to white. And we can actually just drop this red and then continue single crocheting with the white without having to carry the red across. Alrighty, now we are on row 4, and you can see that this red is still here. I didn't cut it off because I'm still going to use it, and I would just rather drop it than to cut it and have a bunch of loose ends. So now we are on row 4. This is what row 4 looks like, and we have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white, 1, 2, 3 red, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white. Of course, if you're right-handed, read it this way, and for me, I'll be reading it that way. But this will be the last row that I'm going to demonstrate for you because I believe it is very simple. Color change where you see the color changes, and cut the color when you see that you need to go to another color, or just drop the color. So do your white, then your red, and then your white again, or any color that you have. So just, if you are not using white and red, just think of this white background as the main color and this heart as this red color as the secondary color. So whenever you see your main color, use your main color. Whenever you see the secondary color, use your secondary color. And that is how you're going to create this heart. So I'm going to show you this row, and then after that, I'm going to let you guys finish this up, and I'll show you what I have at the end. For row 4, there are 6 white boxes, so I'm going to do 6 white stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now I'm going to finish it off with the secondary color. So now there are 3 red. So I'm going to do 3 red stitches. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm switching back to my main color. And then there are 6 white stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that is the end of row 4. And this is what your heart should look like right now. So now from rows 5 until 17, you will continue working and changing your colors, and then come back and see what it looks like. Then we could talk about what could go wrong, if anything went wrong, etc., etc. So I'll see you guys at the end. Alrighty, guys, this is the finished project, and let me, put this side by side next to this. Look at that. Beautiful. It looks just like this. So this is what the project turned out to be, and this is what the graph is. As you can see, it is like dead on. And this is how people who have pictures in their cardigans and their sweaters or purses or anything. This is what they use, not the specific graph obviously, but this is what they do. This is the method that is used to make these wonderful graph GAN tapestry crochet projects. So some things that could go wrong is that you accidentally read the row in the same direction instead of alternating directions. That is a very common mistake, and it is easy to fix, honestly. If you realize you did that like earlier on in a project, don't worry about it. Just keep alternating in the rest of your project, because one little mishap won't totally mess up your entire project. But remember, all graphs won't have these numbers. Most of them will, especially if you use stitch fiddle, then you will for sure have numbers on the sides. But if you're just using graph paper or anything, make sure you label the sides and alternate the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, or if you're left-handed, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that you never have to worry about making a mistake, because you always start the row where the number is. So like I said before, you start number 1, row number 1 is right here, you start there. Row number 2 is right there, you start there. So those are the only things that could possibly go wrong. Of course, while the project is going, you'll be like, wait, is this turning out right? But don't ever judge your projects based on how it starts, okay? Because I do that all the time and it turns out so good, and I'm like, I was stressing for no reason. Alrighty, that is it for this video tutorial, helping you read a graph-ish video. I don't know what to call it, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped. I tried to go into as much detail as I could without like over explaining it. I just want you guys to understand like every single thing when it comes to reading a graph, because it can be confusing sometimes because we're so used to just, you know, crocheting, and we're not used to just reading something to crochet. So I hope that really helps. And remember, if you guys have any other questions, you can always contact me in my comments. Of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, DM me there, because I have my DMs open and I do read every single thing. If you do create any other project that I have on my channel, be sure to tag me on Instagram and or Twitter if you're on Twitter. There are not a lot of crocheters on Twitter. I feel like more are on Instagram, but either one, I'm on both. If you do have those, tag me in it. I will share it because I love seeing other people's creations. And remember to like and subscribe and do all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys later with another video. Bye!